back to moveSKILL. Let's take a look at Kettlebell Snatch. Kettlebell Snatch is a movement that comes after you're good at the kettlebell swing. We may take time along the way to learn the kettlebell clean and jerk. There's a number of moves we can learn along the way, but at the most explosive application of the swing movement, we can bring this bell all the way overhead in one movement and call it a snatch. So let me show you a couple of kettlebell snatches. I'll just show the movement and then we'll break it down and look at what it's going to take for you to get good at this. So I'm going to start with powerful hip drive. And I want to drive so hard that just from that hip extension, there's enough momentum. I want to get this bell basically all the way up purely on hip drive. That's the power. However, in doing that, the bell swings out at an arc defined by the length of my arm, length of your arm. What we don't want to do is continue that arc so that the bell ends up coming up and over your arm. It will then smack you in the forearm like that. And typically you do that once or twice and you're already getting tired of the movement. If you've tried to do kettlebell snatch on your own some, you may have already beaten up your forearm. When we do the move right though, there is no beating up of the forearm. What I'm going to do instead is, as the bell is flying up, I'm going to pull my shoulder back and then essentially slip under the thing at the top. There's a bit of a rotate the handle around the kettlebell center of mass. Let me show you how that looks low and get a little bit of movement, a little bit of momentum here, and watch how I'm able to essentially punch the handle around the center of mass of the kettlebell. And you might have seen that the bell came over and just barely touched my forearm and came back down. Nice controlled movement. Essentially, that's what we're doing at the top here. So let me show you the snatch movement. You might have been able to see from those couple of reps that the bell was gently coming to rest on my forearm. There's a strong drive from the hips. The bell flies up, I'm pulling my shoulder back and then slipping under it at the top. One more time here. So to put this together, to string these elements together, here's a nice way to do it. First, as I've already shown you, develop your swing as a hip-driven exercise only. If you're still pulling the thing up with your arm, with your shoulder a little bit, if it's a little bit of a shoulder raise, you're not going to be able to get this receiving motion correct at the top. So as you're developing your swing, drive hard enough with your hips that the bell is totally all the way up. The next step is to learn this pull the shoulder back motion. So for that, what we'll do is take a little bit of the power off. I'm only going to swing it somewhere in this range this time. And as the bell's flying up here, I'm going to pull back. So drive it up with your hips and pull back. Pull back. This feels a little bit weird because then the momentum is shoving straight into your shoulder and at some point you have nowhere to go and you just feel kind of jammed up there. That's all right, it's just part of learning this process. So drive the bell up with your hips, shrug that shoulder back. The next thing is to make it more powerful. I'm going to drive it up with my hips and pull back so that that whole retraction motion is happening about here. So the reason we've been pulling the shoulder back is so that I have room here to push my shoulder forward and slip under the bell. So now we'll add that last piece to this. One more. And that's it. If you get it right, there's no impact on the forearm and the movement feels fine. Again, the key elements are it's hip drive. This is what gets you the power to get that thing up. And learning this little slip under motion at the top. Thank you. Till next time.